Nijmegen, which is the oldest city of the Netherlands. It was founded about 2,000 years ago by the Romans. And Nijmegen is a city that is situated on the river the Waal, with a city center which is actually on the riverside. With about 180,000 inhabitants, Nijmegen is the prime example of the medium-sized city. When you ride a bike and you see somebody you know and they're like drinking a beer on a terrace like over here, you can stop and have a beer with them. And that's what I like about this city. It is big enough to be fun, but small enough to meet people. We are the cities which stories are not very often told. You can all talk about Paris, New York, LA or Tokyo, but we don't really talk about those cities which are smaller. And from a policy point of view, it is a really interesting field to rediscover cycling on that level. The city of Nijmegen has won the award for Best Dutch Cycling City last year. And to be honest, we are very, very proud of that. Because we have been focusing on creating a regional network of decent fast cycling routes and creating a good inner city network. And that has led to an inner city modal share of cycling of over 60% in Nijmegen.
One of the benefits about coming to cities in the Netherlands is that you really get to see the city on a human scale, and there's so much ease built into just getting around. It's pretty amazing to be able to get from one city to another. We traveled to Arnhem by bicycle. It was all flat, all through countryside, and was so peaceful.
But the good thing about Nijmegen is when you exit the city center, you are going to meet cars, but you will be immediately covered by a network of separated cycling tracks, cycling streets, and overall really good cycling facilities. So what you see here is that children go to school on their own, adults ride on their bikes, and even seniors take their regular bikes or their pedelecs and they pedal around the city, visit relatives, visit friends and go shopping.
You start with children. If you embed it with children and they learn from this age, then for everyone it's normal that you cycle. Also the people in cars, they know from a cycle perspective how it is to be in traffic with a lot of cars. So they know how to behave.
The priority that's given to cyclists, I mean, it would just make it so much more attractive for people that don't cycle at home if they could just have a go on how it is here.
Compared to the 1990s, you see a lot of protected bike lanes. Now the fast cycle lanes are the latest thing. So that really helped the city to keep young families within the city borders who didn't want to live in the city center, giving them the opportunity to bike everywhere.
And we are currently standing in a car-free zone, which is accessible only to the delivery trucks, and the city center is completely pedestrianized. But it wasn't always so. Back in the 70s, this used to be a main road, and the main square in the city used to be a parking lot. So over the course of 40 years, a lot of change has been made, and this has resulted into a very livable city, a very happy city, and a lot of people cycling and walking in the city center.
In the 60s of the last century, there was always cars in the city. Everyone went to shopping with the car, and there was a question, what do? We continue welcoming the cars in the city, or we'll stop it and we'll turn around the policy to more cyclists, more buses and more pedestrians as well. So the policy changed, and we all made measures at first without pollers. So we put up the signs and you may not enter the city, but that didn't work.
The city center needs access. You need delivery trucks to go to the shops. People living there need to be able to move their goods. So the city of Nijmegen has created a fence of bollards.
If we use pollers, then it's simple. You can't get in if you don't have permission to get in.
Delivery vehicles can come to the shops between 7 in the morning and 12 in the afternoon. So what you see is when the city center is empty with shoppers, It's full with delivery vehicles. The stores are being supplied.
They've got deliveries to make and garbage to haul away, and I saw a huge semi yesterday morning making a delivery, and it was honestly as big as the semis that we have in our cities. And they worked out a way to noodle around through this dense little pedestrian network early in the morning.
And those bollards also function also for public transport. In the city there are bus lines, and buses can lower the bollards automatically, and then they can enter the city and provide transit and service to the people.
So one of the great things about Arnhem and Nijmegen is that they are silent. The city center, where they've been able to get most of the cars out, most of the trucks out, most of the two-wheelers out, is that it's a hearing city. You can hear people talk, you can hear people walk, you can hear kids play, you can hear people laughing. One of the things you realize in these type of cities is that there's a lot of noise, but noise that we've forgotten about. It's not noise of trucks, not noise of cars, but noise of people.
So I did my research project in Cairo, in Egypt, and I lived there for 6 months. And it was only when I came back that I heard this silence in the city, not hearing the noise all the time. And then I realized how precious that is, to have this silence that also gives some peace in your mind.
The best thing is when I wake up in the morning, I don't hear any traffic. It's amazing. There's this bike sort of lined up outside the cafes. You just pull up, put your bike lock on, go in, have a drink. It's the lifestyle that I wish we had in Australia.
Even coming to a small Dutch city like Nijmegen, we realize how much work a city like Vancouver still has to do to get everyday regular people on bicycles. We do have the burgeoning cycle track network. We have the start of a cycle culture, but you do not see the range of ages and abilities that you do here.
On the island of Kauai, I don't see very many people on our paths, but here, the people who are in their 70s and their 80s are passing me on the bike, and I'm just totally blown away by that.
It's an atmosphere of a village, I would say, and with safe children places, and everyone is on its ease. And if I'm some places abroad, then yeah, it's quite a different world.
This is paradise. I have to make sure not to forget how this is when I get back home. It is so different, so damn different. There is a law here, it's presumed guilty. If you are involved in a car accident and you were the driver, you are going to be in a big trouble because you're going to be presumed guilty no matter what. So that's the main difference. And that is particularly what I really need in my country.
People talk about what should the Dutch export, what should cities like Nijmegen export, and a lot of people focus on the technical competency the Dutch have on making a city work for people on bicycles. I don't think that's the real export here. I think the real export is how it is that they started thinking about a city differently so that the bicycle can be an integral part of the mobility package. That is the real secret. Starting to get people to think about the city completely differently and then thinking about how the bicycle fits into it.
Coming from the United States, we just have not made the cultural shift that walking and biking is really where we need to be. And I think once businesses see that and have that understanding, they'll be more supportive of it.
Generally, the Netherlands is a really nice place to live, and cycling is part of that, but it's not just the biking. It is about having the independence, and the bike kind of accommodates the independence so that young children can go to places without always having to be escorted. They can take responsibility of their own lives, and research has also shown that it is an important piece of personal development.
I think that one of of the things that we take away from the Netherlands and bring back with us is that if we can get it to a point where, like here, you've got teenagers riding around because it's the easiest way to do, not because it's cool, not because it's a status symbol, just a means to get around and socialize with your friends. I think if we can get that in North America and in Vancouver especially, then I think we've succeeded.
And we're in the city of Nijmegen. And as you can hear, this is Nijmegen. It's a cycling city. People ring the bell, they enjoy it.